We live? Oh my God. Today is day number 6 and we are live on Instagram, everybody. I'm also filming for YouTube, so if it looks like I'm looking in 2 different spots, it's because I'm looking in 2 different spots. This is a live Q&A, so you guys can ask whatever questions that you want. Today is day number 6 of the Carnivore Diet. I'm feeling like $1,000,000 and everything's going really good. I wanted to share something with you guys. My mother-in-law has been, she jumped in on World Carnivore Month, super excited for her, super proud of her, and it was a weird coincidence because as soon as she jumped in on World Carnivore Month, then Joe Rogan jumped in too. I was like, that's so weird. How's Joe Rogan following my mother-in-law? So strange. Anyway, my mother-in-law is doing amazing. She's been diabetic for, I think, like 7 or 8 years, and with 3 days of intermittent fasting and the carnivore diet, her resting glucose in the morning was 71 or 75, and it's the lowest it's been in 5 years. That's how quickly some of these things can be assisted and can be helped. She's not cured of anything. She still has to stay on the diet. She still has to do her 10-minute walks. She still needs to train. She still needs to stay on top of it. She is 70, I think she's 70 something. But that should give you guys some motivation. Some of you out there that may be sick and may have some trouble. Any ailments that you have can be reversed in a very, very short period of time. 3 days? That sounds absolutely ridiculous to me. So we're going to take some questions on Instagram. Hopefully a couple have come in. Hopefully I have enough fans out there that are paying attention. What do we got?
Is beef jerky a good snack?
Is beef jerky meat? Is beef jerky a good snack on the carnivore diet? I'm not really a big fan of any snacks. I would say, look, man, you need to have meals. You need to try to have meals. So, again, what I'm recommending to most people is somewhere between 1 to 3 meals per day on the carnivore diet, and I really am a huge proponent of fasting. I just don't think we need some of these things. A lot of people ask all the time about putting cream in their coffee. Can I put cream in my coffee, or is that breaking my fast? It's breaking your fast, and also you don't need it. There's a big difference between like need and want, and there's also a time and place in your life to lean into the resistance of life. There's time and place in your life to make things harder for yourself, and there's also a time and place in your life to make things easier for yourself and to give yourself an underhand pitch. So beef jerky, I say ditch that shit.
If I'm going carnivore, do you still count your calories for each thing, or just eat until you're full? I have essentially an endless supply of red meat at my fingertips.
Ooh, that's making me starving. I need to go over to that person's house. So I don't think there's any reason to count your calories. I've said this many, many times. And the reason why I think that is that food choices are the most important thing, and then everything else will kind of cascade from there. So when you make a decision to eat protein, it's the most satiating of all the different macronutrients that we're able to consume. It's going to fill you up. It's going to also help build some muscle mass, and it also doesn't count as a calorie. The fact that it was ever counted as a calorie is, in my opinion, a mistake. You have 2 forms of energy in your body. One is a carbohydrate and the other is fat. Protein can be utilized as energy, but it is turned into glucose by your liver. And so I don't think protein ever needs to be anything to worry about. So in this instance, when you're asking about should I count calories, just eat when you're hungry, eat until you're full. I would also recommend, whether you're trying to be bigger and stronger or whether you're trying to be smaller, I would still recommend some intermittent fasting, because in my opinion, it's very important to not only be hungry, but it's important to be hungry for the right food choices. And I think that if we interrupt our body's natural processes as it's going through some fasting with snacks and things like that, then we're going to interrupt our ability to stay focused on the foods that we should be eating.
Salt pre-workout?
Oh my God. There's a lot of questions about salt on a carnivore diet. People are always asking me about salt. They're like, why does it always say salt? It says like meat, eggs, and salt. Why is salt on there? Well, because you're not having any carbohydrates. It's a carbohydrate. It helps hydrate the muscles. Glycogen will help hydrate your body. carbohydrates will hold on to water, and when you get rid of carbohydrates, you're going to start to pee more. You're going to start to lose more water, right? So because of this, you want to try to replace that with something, and that something would be salt. It's very, very important that we have our electrolytes down. It's essential, in fact, that we have electrolytes. So you might want to put salt into your water. You might want to put salt on your food. You don't need to go crazy. You don't need to make your food taste overly salty. But yeah, salt before a workout is fantastic. And even some salt after workout to avoid those cramps that some people get in the middle of the night. I know I used to suffer a lot from leg cramps, and having some salt before a workout, having a little bit of salt after a workout has helped tremendously. I'm never bothered to like weigh it out. I just put enough salt in the water to not really alter the flavor of the water that much, because that can kind of be gross. You're like, it tastes like you got nailed by a wave at the beach or something like that. It's kind of weird. So yeah, salt is a huge factor. Electrolytes in general are a huge factor. You might want to look into, there's a company called Keto Vitals. They make a powdered electrolyte that you can get off of Amazon. And then also Perfect Keto, they sell capsules that you can easily take, and that will help. It has potassium and sodium and all that stuff in it.
What are your thoughts on zero carb energy drinks?
What are my thoughts on zero carb energy drinks? I don't like them. I'm not a fan of them. The main reason why I'm not a fan of some of these things is because there's a nice opportunity here for you. For those of you that were never the smartest kid in your class, for those of you that were never picked when you played kickball, for those of you that weren't the homecoming queen or the homecoming king, for those of you that weren't the best in every sport when you played a sport, for those of you that never hit a home run, it is time for you to make things a little bit more difficult for yourself, and it is time for you to actually become that person. And I think when we think about what we're trying to do with this carnivore diet, it's an opportunity to be great. It really is. It's an opportunity to shut out everything else. I think when we think about greatness, we just think about the points on the scoreboard that everybody puts up. But it's all these like little things that people do kind of behind the scenes that are really critical and that are really crucial. You ever meet somebody and they just seem to have everything all intact, they seem to have everything all in line, and you find out that they like don't drink coffee and that they have a beautiful family and they do this and they do that, and you think they're like an alien. You're like, oh my God, this person, they're so different than I am. But that's because they have learned that there's a big difference in life between the things that you need and the things that you want. This is an opportunity for you to get stronger. This is an opportunity for you to build your willpower into a completely different realm than you've ever experienced before. I know it sounds silly that we're talking about this in the case of zero carbohydrate energy drinks and zero calorie energy drinks, but trust me when I say this, when you follow through with every single thing that you tell yourself and you do it on a day-to-day basis and you do it for a long period of time, you will feel like that person that hit a grand slam home run. You will feel awesome. You will feel amazing. You will feel fantastic. So I would say ditch it. Anything that you guys are going to ask me, I'm going to tell you to kick it to the curb. If it's not meat and it's not eggs and it's not bone broth and it's not salt, I say don't eat it, especially during World Carnivore Month.
Is low carb with intermittent fasting the best way to lose fat?
Is low carb with intermittent fasting the best way to lose fat? I think not only is it the best way to lose fat, but I think it's the best way to fight disease. There's going to be more and more evidence of this coming out, especially in 2020. You're going to see a ton of this information coming out. It's already out there, but it's going to come to the forefront even more. Even with something like diabetes, which I think over half the population has at this point. I think half the population, or maybe even more like 70%, is insulin resistant, something ridiculous like that, depending on what you look at. But anyway, I think that when it comes to some intermittent fasting, when it comes to low carbs, you're going to see that not only does it help against diabetes, but it's going to help against heart disease, it's going to help against skin disorders, it's going to help against depression, it's going to help against anxiety, it's going to help against a lot of things. And when I say help, it's just helping. It's not a thing that you just do and wha-bam, everything disappears. but it will make a lot of things disappear, like some of the diseases some people have. It will help with people losing a lot of body fat. The body fat will disappear. So I'm a huge proponent of low carbohydrate diets. I'm a huge proponent of intermittent fasting. I mean, it's so powerful that we're even seeing that it's, in addition to diabetes, where there's just so much proof of it, it's overwhelming. It's also impacting Alzheimer's and dementia. So it's like it's reversing a lot of diseases, even after people already have the disease. To me, that's pretty crazy, and that's pretty wild. So it's going to not only help you lose weight, but it's going to help you live on this planet for a long-ass time.
Can you jump right into the carnivore diet if you've been on a standard bodybuilding diet of, like, say 300 grams of carbs a day?
Oh my God. Can you jump into the carnivore diet off of a bodybuilding diet where you're eating 300 grams of carbs a day? Yes, you certainly can. However, you might feel like crap for a few days. Anyone that's coming from any whatever diet they're coming from, and they're coming into the carnivore diet, if you had some bad habits and you were eating a lot of carbohydrates, or you were eating very clean and healthy carbohydrates, in either case, carbohydrates are a little bit addictive. They have a different texture to them than everything else, and so not only are you going to miss them, but I think from a perspective of like your brain's going to be missing them, and so you might end up with like a headache. You might not feel very good. You might even feel a little sick to your stomach, and that's just you coming off of carbohydrates, just like you coming off of alcohol. You might see people they shake when they come off of alcohol. I think a similar thing happens to us with carbohydrates. Food has that much of an impact on our body, so there's no problem coming off of some of those diets and diving directly into a carnivore diet. However, I would say that you might have a 2 or 3 day time frame where you're a little messed up and maybe not feeling yourself, but do your best to fight through it. Before we move on, I'll share something with you guys. I cut out coffee for the month of January, and today is day number 6. On day number 2 and on day number 3, probably on maybe more than one occasion during the day, I had a little bit of a headache, and it lasted for about 20 minutes, and then it went away. And then I got a little headache, it lasted about 20 minutes, and then it went away. And it happened a little bit on the 2nd and on the 3rd day, and that was it. I haven't had a headache since. So, I think it's so hard to sit there on your couch and really be craving something to eat. You're just like, you feel like you're dying for food. You feel like you're so hungry, and those hungers, the hunger's really hitting you hard, but you're probably not that hungry. You should probably just get your ass to bed. You'll definitely, not even probably, you'll definitely be better off if you just fight through it. Get your ass to bed, get rested, and start over.
A tad bit worried about my blood pressure. How does the keto carnivore diet tend to affect this? I can't even read the rest of
I
it.
got you. How does blood pressure affect, or how can blood pressure be affected by a carnivore diet or a low carb diet? Your blood pressure will be fixed in a matter of days. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Now, there are people who have genetic disorders where they have, they do have some issues with their blood pressure, and it's really hard for them to navigate, especially the longer you've had it, the worse that it is. But again, carbs help hydrate the body. They help the body to hold some water. One of the things that happens with high blood pressure, one of the medications for high blood pressure, they give you a, what's the things that make you pee? They give you a what pill? Water pill? What's it called? Diuretic. There we go. I worked through it. They give you a diuretic, right? So they give you a diuretic because they're trying to get all those fluids out of you. Well, the same thing happens when you don't eat carbohydrates. So it'll have a massive impact. A carnivore diet will have a massive positive impact on your blood pressure. I've seen this time and time again with my own family members and experienced it myself. And again, these things are not always going to be like, it's not going to always happen immediately for everybody. But from what I've seen, even like 3 days or 5 days of a carnivore style diet will drop someone's blood pressure quite a bit. So whoever asked that question, hit up the carnivore diet. You'll love it.
Do you get bored with your food? Martina asks.
So do you get bored with your food on a carnivore diet? That is an amazing question. And something that I love about this question is that it can kind of work. We can make our foods work for us or against us. In the case of Stan Efferding's vertical diet, Stan utilizes rice to teach people, or not to teach people, to encourage people to eat more food. Because a lot of people are under eating. A lot of people aren't eating enough food. And how do we eat more food? Well, if we mix fat, protein, and carbohydrates together, we can easily eat more food. The more variety that we have in our diet, the easier it is to eat more food. So Stan Efferding's diet also has vegetables, and it has fruit and things like that. And it's a great diet for a lot of athletes, and a great diet for a lot of powerlifters. Some people have a hard time losing weight on that diet because of it has a little too much freedom. And when we start to strip everything down and we go into a carnivore diet, people are like, man, how are you still hungry for steak? Like, how is it that you want steak? Well, I'm sitting here right now, and it's almost 2 p.m., and we've been going at it hard all day here. I did a podcast at 8 a.m., and I've been in meetings, been doing stuff all day, and I'm, in the morning I was not hungry for a steak at all, but now I'm starting to think about food. But around like 4 or 5 o'clock, when I get an opportunity to eat, I'm going to be really, really excited about what it is I'm eating. When I see that steak, my mouth is going to start to water and stuff. So we can use something called palate fatigue to our advantage. There was actually like a study done. I don't know exactly how the study went, but it showed this guy ate like as much ice cream as he could. And he ate like 5 pounds of ice cream or something like that. But then he stopped when he got to like 4 pounds. He couldn't eat any more ice cream. What he did in between, so he did another study, and what he did in between, if you want to call this a study even, what he did in between is he ate French fries. And when he ate French fries, he was able to eat almost double the amount of ice cream because of something called palate fatigue. So in this case, we can use palate fatigue to our advantage. If you're like, I don't really want to eat, because the only option for you is you have a slim, no matter what diet plan you're on, you should have a very narrow list of foods that you're eating. Now, you could eat a bunch of vegetables and stuff like that. That's not really what I'm talking about, but you got vegetables and meat, and like that should be the confines of your diet. And a bunch of snacks and a bunch of Chips Ahoy cookies and donuts and shit like that shouldn't be part of your nutrition plan. When those things aren't part of your nutrition plan, when there's not an invasion of a bunch of snacks and a bunch of crap in your diet, you will always be hungry, and you will always desire the meat that's in front of you. So again, palate fatigue is something where you're just like, oh man, I got a steak in the fridge that I cooked up last night. There's no way that I want that. You know what you do? You wait. Go on a 10-minute walk. Maybe expend some energy. Maybe go lift. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe go for a run. Do something, and then wait until you're hungry. And when you're hungry enough for that steak, you will be all over it. You can kind of think of it like water, like with a glass of water. Some people are like, I don't like water. Well, all right, well, don't drink water for a day. Don't drink water for 24 hours and tell me what it's like when somebody hands you a glass of water. Now, boom, you're guzzling it down, right? What do we got? Next question.
Sleep tips from Shredding Shane.
What did he say?
Sleep tips?
Oh, sleep tips. Sleeping tips. So, the amount of stuff I have to do to myself to get myself to sleep is just, it's too much. It really is. It's embarrassing. I don't know. I'll take a picture of it one day when I have the ability to man up and just do it. My entire body needs to go through an entire process, but basically what I do is about an hour before I go to bed, I found it really helpful, and more like 90 minutes before I go to bed, I try to ditch the phone. I do the best I can with it. We have a rule in the house where you're supposed to put your phones away at 7 p.m. We're not always good at it, but we do the best that we can. The kids, myself, my wife, are all supposed to put that shit away. And we're supposed to hang out with each other and pretend that we love each other for a few minutes. But we never do. Now, we work on it, and we work towards it all the time. So I try to put the phone away, and then from there, my wife plays white noise. So we got some white noise going. I have to have a fan strategically blowing right on my face. I don't know why, but it always has to be blowing on my face when I go and travel, and I am in a hotel room or something, and I obviously don't have a fan at that point. I make the room like 50 degrees, make it as cold as possible, and that seems to work. That seems to help enough. So having the temperature of the room cool is really important. White noise, keep the room cool, put your phone away. Another thing that I have to do is I wear like an eye mask, and that helps block out all the light. I know that people are always like, oh, you got to get these shades, they work perfect, and they never work. There's always some beam of sunlight that comes in and just directly like lands on your face somehow. And so I wear an eye mask that blocks it out, and that's like, I mean, you can get them for a couple of bucks on Amazon. I also use mouth tape from a company called Somnifix. I know that this part's going to start to sound really weird, but I wake up with a lot of drool on my pillow. Otherwise, I wake up with my mouth open a lot, and it's just, in short, it's a lot more efficient to sleep with your mouth closed. And so I sleep with my mouth closed by taping it shut. Taping it shut has also helped me with a couple other weird things. I used to, when I was 330 pounds, I used to wake up in the middle of the night, and I used to go and attack my refrigerator and attack my pantry. But now with my mouth taped shut, even when I go and use the restroom, I'm like, fuck it, my mouth's taped. I'm just gonna go back to bed. The other thing that I do, which is really weird, and I can't even believe I'm sharing this with you guys, is that you see how grizzled up these hands are? I'm not trying to show you my Rolex, or maybe I am, or my 2 rings I got going on here. But yeah, you see how grizzled up these hands are? This is super annoying to have these calluses here. And so what happens to me is, first of all, I have to wake up in the middle of the night and pee like 185 times. I don't know why. It's gotten better over the years, but still working on it. Over the last week or so, my sleep has been better than it's ever been. But I still wake up and you have to use the bathroom. Maybe I need to figure out my drinking schedule a little bit better or something like that. But because my hands are like this, because my hands are dry, I end up like picking at them. So I'll wake up and I'll like be ready to use the restroom. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta pee. But there I am like picking at my hands. So I'm like, how long was I picking at my hands for? And I have this ring on here, this Aura ring. It doesn't tell me that I was picking at my hands, but it tells me that I wake up a lot. You're supposed to have like 2 hours of deep sleep every single night. For many, many years, for a long period of time, not only did I have shitty sleep, but I had shitty quality of sleep. And I would get like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of deep sleep. Keep in mind, you're supposed to have 2 hours out of the 8 hours that you sleep. And I was never getting anywhere near that. So now what I do, I bought gloves for my hands, right? But the gloves didn't work. And so, and then I bought another pair of gloves. So look, listen, I'm in gloves. I keep my socks on too, because I heard that helps you sleep better too, from a sleep doctor. But I am like mummified. So I have eye mask on, I got my mouth taped shut, and now I wear these big, giant, furry socks on my hands, because they're the only things that would stay on my hands. These gloves, like, Andy ordered them for me, and they were like too tight. Then I ordered another pair, and they were like just too weird to try to sleep with. And so now I wear these 2 big, giant, like winter socks on my hands to go to sleep, so I don't F with my hands in the middle of the night. So I don't know if that would help any of you out there, but it certainly has helped me. I finally got my sleep somewhat straightened out. You shouldn't be laughing at me over there. Thank you guys so much for listening. Keep the questions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see next. Let me know how I can assist you further with fasting. Let me know how I can assist you further with the carnivore diet. Again, today is day number 6. I'll film some of my food that I'm going to be eating a little bit later on. We'll have Carlos is going to follow me around for an entire day. We'll figure it out. We might even like live stream the whole day. I know, how boring is that? But like some people, they ask so many questions that I think maybe just showing the entire lifestyle with no pauses and no edits and no nothing might help some of you out there. I'm on a mission. I want to really help make the world a better place to live, and the only way to do it is to have healthy individuals around. I feel that this is the best diet. This is the best way to go. And thank you guys so much for following along. Keep the comments flowing. Tell other people about us. Tell other people about us. Have other people subscribe. I think we're a little over 6,000 subscribers, and we're still new. And so that's the other thing is, because this channel is still new, when you ask a question in the comments below, I'm probably going to see it. You can help dictate what this channel even looks like. you want to know about business, you want to know about lifting, whatever it is you want to know about, put it in the comments below, and I will see it, or Carlos will see it, and we will attend to it. Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Thank you guys so much